Okay. I guess we are live, guys. Thank you very much. This is Times Drive and I'm Kranti Sambhav. और जो स्क्रीन में दूसरी साइड young man दिख रहे हैं, he is Adil. You know him very well. और in case what maybe you don't know, एक चीज कि अगर किसी इवेंट में आप अगर देखें किसी कोने में दो लोग सबसे ज्यादा अगर बैठ के हंस रहे हैं तो I'm sure it must be me and Adil. And when I said Adil, let's do one chat on this. बहुत सारे हमारे जो friends हैं, they keep asking कि कौन सा automobiles में अगर हम career बना रहे हैं auto journalism में क्या कुछ हो सकता है. And Adil suggested that हाँ फटाफट we should do that. And yes. इसमें जो भी खुल के बात वो करेंगे और आई एम श्योर बहुत सारी चीजें शायद आपको पसंद आए, बहुत सारी चीजें सीखने को मिले. सो आदिल, फर्स्ट थिंग फर्स्ट, ये तो बताएं कि when and where did you start?
I think I was born with cars and bikes right from the early days. So I knew I always wanted to do something with cars and bikes only. And of course, I also was blessed with a lot of good people around me in my school days and also my college days. So, and I always loved to read quite a lot. And so when you love cars, bikes, you love to read. So obviously my reading was more with a lot of car and bike stuff right from the early days. And my father came from Sholapur, which is about 250 kilometers from Pune. And we were blessed with a lot of cars and bikes in our family at that time. And so it was not an unnatural thing for most Parsis to take to this sort of thing, whether it's 2 wheels, 4 wheels, sometimes even 1 wheel, So in that sort of sense, and then we used to get a lot of international magazines. There were no car magazines in India at that time in the 60s. So all these things put together helped. And when my dad, who never went in the family business but joined, like most Parsis of his generation, did join the bank. When he was transferred in 68 to Pune, we joined him in Pune in 69. And from that time, the thing really gained more prominence because Pune was the motorsport center for India in those days. And lot of people with a lot of interest in cars, bikes. In fact, from my dad's side, my uncle's grandfather brought the first motorcycle to India in 1903. So, and he was still in business. So all his archives helped. So what I'm saying is, if you love something, start reading about it, start getting deeper into it, meet people who are into it. And that's what I did. And that's how I started.
Exactly. So that's the question which I was going to ask. How do you suggest? Lots of our friends, okay, they've joined. Shreyas Rise, thank you so much. Shreyas is saying hello, Adil sir as well. Nitin Dangade, namaste. And Ravindra Narayan Raut, hello sir.
Hi guys, hi all of y'all.
Okay, and Shreyas is okay, so Shreyas is asking, he's automobile engineering student, started with YouTube reviews, although I have some limited resources, like I just record with my smartphone. Abhi aage kaise badhe?
Let me tell you, we also started with very, minimal resources. My mother used to give me 25 paise pocket money a day in the 70s when we were in school in Pune. So let not money or resources come into the picture. It should be your motivation and your drive. So in a week, we used to save 1 rupee 75 paise and go to Manny's bookshop, probably the best bookshop which I ever visited in my life in this country. And it was a thing whether I saved for 2 weeks and bought a copy of a foreign magazine, or I go to the second-hand bookshop and I buy 4 or 5 magazines for the same amount. So resources should not be an excuse. Yeah, it can be a slight impediment for some time. You can't Rome was not built in a day. So in that sort of sense, don't let that bog you down,
Right. So whatever situations, yeah. So you need to maximize it, and that's a very good point. Same amount of money you buy 4 or 5 old magazines, and Nitin is saying he was also born in Solapur only. Nitin Dangade. So
wow,
he's
very good.
saying yes, and so let's I mean, right now we are seeing lots of video content, lots of motoring journalists.
Everyone is at home now. Everyone is stuck at home, locked out and locked in. Not
Yes.
locked out, locked in actually.
But when we talk about Adil, if we talk about writing and like maybe step one, what do you think is step one in case any for friend viewer he wants to get into motoring journalism?
Yeah, that's it. You first read, develop a good grip on both your subject as well as your writing skills. So you don't need to be a scholar, but you need to know the nuances of pronunciation in whatever language. Like sometimes they ask me in Hindi, so it becomes rather humorous. So if you can spare the humor, stick to the language you know very well. Okay, so get a grip on the language you know very well. Get to grips with the subject which you want to do, and start writing a lot of small essays and keep. As long as you start writing, it flows. If you suddenly say, sometimes you say, oh, I have to write something, and then you have a block and you can't start. Don't labor yourself too much trying to overcome that block, because that block will not go unless and until you again ease your mind and do that. But read and also have a good grasp of the subject and the language.
Which one was, what was your first story, Adil?
First story is also the story of my life and why I'm here as a monster in this. You must have read my book, Mercedes-Benz Winning. In that, I had outlined how I got into this business. It was, I remember the date, August 26, 1977. The London-Sydney rally was passing by from Bombay to Pune. They had already come all the way from London via Europe, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, through the Wagah, the Atari border, and then to Delhi and Bombay. And they were going from Bombay to Madras. I'm using the names of the cities as they were then. Today it's Mumbai, and there is Pune, and there's Chennai. So, but they came to Bombay and they were going to pass through Pune. And we knew they would be around about 1 o'clock, 1:15 in the afternoon. So me, my brothers, we went out to the outskirts of Pune city. There's this Kathraj Ghat which connects Pune and Bangalore. And we knew that at that time it was barely 2 cars could pass through widthwise. So we went to that hairpin bend and we sat there. And from there we could see the cars coming from low down. So another 10, 12 minutes, they would be up to where we were. So they went there, and just about 10 minutes before the first car was over, 2 oldies came, where I was standing with a small camera, and they came and parked their scooter in front of me, and they got out of the scooter, big lenses, cameras, and they stood. I said, hey guys, you can't come across and take my place. I've been here right from 11 o'clock. So this guy said, we are from the press. So I lost my mind still at that time. So he said, what do you mean? Which press are you from? He said, I'm from the Pune Herald newspaper. I again lost it. I said, you guys cannot cover cricket, hockey, or football properly. What are you going to cover? Motor racing and motor racing. So this guy, he says, we'll talk about it later. Car is coming. So I went to another corner and started shooting. They shot for about 10-15 minutes. They wanted to get 5-6 pictures for the beat, and they wanted to go back. So when they were going back, this guy came to me and he says, I see that you are an angry young man, and you're a Parsi, and you think you know quite a lot about motor racing. This is my card. Come and meet me in the evening. I just took the card and shoved it in my pocket, and I carried because the other cars were coming. I was there at Kathraj Ghat till about 4 o'clock. Then we went back home. I went home. I had a shower and all that. And thanks to my mummy, who used to check our laundry after her shower, she found this card in the clothes I had put in the laundry bucket. She asked me, what is this? Why is this card there with you? I told her this is sort of thing. I mean, what did you do? I said, I was very angry and upset, this guy. He says, no, if he's given you this thing, go and meet him. So grudgingly, I went to the Pune Herald office. And this guy, Tahir Sheikh, who I thought was my greatest tormentor there, who turned out to be the real architect of pushing me into this business. He called me in. He was the chief reporter for the Pune Herald newspaper. He introduced me to all his people and he said, this man is going to write our report for the rally tomorrow. So this was a shock to me. But then 2-3 others called me, spoke to me, then said, okay, will you write or will you type? I said, I'll type. So I did a 1100 word thing. They wanted 900 words, but I did that. They corrected it and they said, okay, you can go. I said, what was this? Was it a test? He says, no, this is coming in the paper tomorrow. I said, I don't believe you. He says, no. And at that time they said, okay, we can't show you proof right now. Come at 11:30 in the night. At that time, newspapers used to print it with individual metal types of the words, and they used to make a block, and then it would be. So I said, okay, I'll come. I went back at 11:30 in the night. I saw that proof of that article, and I went back home. I said, great, yes. I did not know. Next day in the morning, my father is shaking me awake about, say, 6:45 or 7. I said, what have you done? So I woke up with a start. I started first thinking, have I done anything to his car, his bike, or anything? And surprisingly, I couldn't find anything I had done wrong in the last 7-8 days. So what was the thing? I went, had a quick wash and all that, went to the dining hall, and there was a paper with the cover story, the main story, headline story was mine. That's how destiny, sometimes you fight with someone on principle, and then you just wait for the stars to what we call outlining. I have never looked back after that day.
This was
1977.
Oh.
And then I started writing for Pune Herald every week from there on.
And how do you see now?
But it was good.
And how do you see, you still, you're not, maybe, I don't think you're angry young man anymore. You're more calmer young man now, maybe funnier, I guess.
I'm happy that you say that.
But
some manufacturers don't like it at all, that I'm a calm guy. They'd rather see me angry because they get the truth out of it.
That I've seen or I've heard. So what do you see? What my point was, my question was 70s to 2000s and now 2020. What's the biggest change you see?
I've gone through the era where we had very few cars, socialist mindset. The socialist mindset really did not enable innovation, did not even enable good commerce for India as such. Actually speaking, it dumbed down creative minds. Everything was there. I remember once when in the 80s, early 80s, I read about the government penalizing Bajaj Auto for making 200 scooters more than the government had given them permission to make. So when you are in that situation, you are already in a place where you are dumbing down output, etc. You are also curbing intelligence of your own not to proliferate for the benefit of the masses. It was a very different and a difficult situation. I saw that when we had 3 cars, 3 bikes, 2 trucks, etc. Today we have got everything. What I don't see right now is we had enough passion and a lot of love for our subject there where we could do it ourselves. Today we cannot. We may have still the passion, but we can't do many things ourselves because the whole nature of car and bike manufacturing has changed. Electronics have come through. Earlier, it was a simple case of doing it all yourself. We could take a car, strip it down, and put it back together. Today, it's difficult to do.
Right. And before we move ahead, Ravi Narayan Raut is asking, he's 34 years old. Can I start career in journalism? Abhinav, you can definitely start. 34 is not.
Age is never a barrier. Age should never be a barrier.
So, Abhinav, you should start working on 2 things, what Adil also said, and I also stress on that. Two things we have to understand. One, the topic you want to cover, whether it's motoring or politics or anything or economics. First, you need to do that. And if you want to be journalist, you need to have conversation. I mean, you need to understand how you can communicate. So language and knowledge, these two things. Share same thing for you as well. Shreyas is saying he wants to see himself as a successful journal, how to in that direction, how to move in that direction or something. Shreyas is asking. So Shreyas, I guess आपको जवाब तो मिल ही गया है. शुरुआत में you have to read, you have to write. Yeah, these are the two things which you have to
keep your eyes and ears always open. You know, you may have done a story, but there could be an addition to a story after some time. So keep your eyes and ears open anyway, not just because you have written a story that's the end of it. Sometimes you can build on it, rebuild it, reconfigure it. But that's what, as a simple way of life, is to keep with the story, even though you may think you have finished it.
How do you see print versus video content on motoring right now, Adil?
To be honest with you, ever since laptops and the internet came through, we suddenly had so many expert automotive guys coming into the frame. It's not funny. Actually speaking, it's a disaster. I'm not saying this from anything else, because these guys have only invested in a laptop and the internet connection. They have not invested in learning the subject, learning the ropes. If you do that, then that laptop and that internet connection is an accessory for you to proliferate. Right now, you have got nothing of the substance or the skills or the experience, but you've got the laptop and the internet. So it's lopsided. So that's where I come. The digital aspect is everyone is a automotive expert from the minute he's bought the laptop and the internet connection. It should have been the other way around. So that's where I see it across.
But the kind of
there are very good guys who do the business using the laptop and the internet because they are basically car guys or bike guys first who know how to use that. But there are, I see across over there today, is the laptop owner and the internet connectivity and the digitally savvy who says, okay, we can use this for trying to publish ourselves as the top dogs in motoring journalism. I think that is a thing, stretching things too far.
But when we look at I'm not saying that all of them, but few of them have fantastic reach and.
No question about that. No question about that. But
my point is that and they have fantastic following. You also, I mean, this is the question I keep asking. Where was that? Wasn't there a vacuum which they filled?
Yeah, for sure. No, that's what I'm saying. But the fan following of a few doesn't make it the right thing for everyone to emote on one subject. What I'm saying, if there's a forum, wonderful. Everyone's views are welcome. And everyone doesn't need to think like you or me. They should have their differences. I will agree to hear your differences, even though they may be at variance to mine. So there is no issue on that. But if you have a guy who looks at a car for the first time on his internet broadcast and he says that this car is going to turn the whole world around. I see sometimes guys come at press conferences and they already have a drive report and a phenomenal opinion of the car within 5 minutes of the car being seen by everyone. Is that the sort of journalism we want to feed to people who are enthusiastic about the subject? If you guys are lapping it up like that, I have no quarrel on that, but I will not be going back to that site ever again.
Okay. And one question in between, Vinay Jha is asking, what's the longest distance you have covered in one go?
I did 50,000 kilometers driving the Tata cars for the Geared for Great endurance run, which we did in 2016. We had a team of about 60 odd drivers. Over a 16-day period, we drove 4 Tata cars non-stop, flat out at the VRD. So think about it, we were averaging close to 2,500 kilometers every day, every car. And we did that. It is something which no one else has ever done in India. And that is just one of the aspects. And we also crossed the Sahara Desert on a scooter in 91, 92, December 91 and January 92, 7,000 odd, 8,000 odd kilometers on a kinetic Honda scooter. So you can well imagine, before anyone even thought about doing it, we had done it.
Nice. That was 91.
December 91, January 92.
Wow. How many days?
I think about 14 days or something, 15 days or something.
Superb. So before we wrap it up, a few things, I mean, in nutshell. A, you said write, read.
Write, read, understand. Writing and reading without context doesn't help. So sometimes, so that's why I say the thing is that you may get a car, and as I see today, everyone wants to. I see many existing journalists also in this way. If the car doesn't do 0 to 100 in 1 second, or it doesn't do 200 kilometers per hour, it's not a good car. So some of the other, we have fallen prey to just these number crunching. India is not about absolute speed and all that. I'd rather look at it from how much pleasure a car gives me. Speed is relative, acceleration is relative. Of course, I love speed, I love acceleration, but having a context. So if you are trying to what you call do a Ferrari and say, "Arey, ye to sala sirf 2 kilometers per liter deti hai," and then you look at a Maruti, say, "Arey, it only does 120 kilometers per hour." Both the contexts are wrong, complete. So you need to have a context to what you want to do.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you also. When you approach a product, how do you look at it? What's your first, parameter?
First, I look at it as whatever category of car, what class of car it is focused on. Then we see whether it has the wherewithal to satisfy those people in that category of car. It can do that thing. How much of the equipment and the value per se, which is fixed with the price, and then whether it helps you to see whether all these things really fructify as per the manufacturer says. Most of the time, the manufacturers give a spiel. Oh, we have worked so hard. We've made the best car in this class. So we have to, yes, we said, okay, we listen to them, but we don't go by what they say. Once the car is driven by us over a certain span of time, some distance, etc., and you find that thing, and also in the environment in which it's going to work. And I'll just narrate you one situation. I won't name the manufacturer because it has already been battered quite heavily for its arrogance. It came from Europe. It said that we are going to make the best cars in this business. The cars were very good. They came with wrong engines. They never delivered what the Indian public wants. And delivering of Indian public means you want to have good fuel efficiency, you want to have good drivability, and you want to have a modicum of modernity and a lot of good environment in the cabin. They gave the European way of doing things, very fast at the top speed, very bad in fuel efficiency, etc. And when we told them that it's not working, they said, all you Indian journalists have given great reviews. I said, yeah, but I have not given. Yeah, she said, you are not given. So they have all given. I said, fine, live with them. But are you selling your cars because of that? Then that one person got very upset. He was the head of product development from Europe. He called for every car, competing car in that class, and he went out on a tour of India. And he came back and said, look at this. My car gives so much. The other cars give so much. I said, yeah, wonderful. Your cars are designed for the highway use, but can we do the exercise in the cities? And how many times does an average owner go all around India on a large tour? Maybe once, twice, or thrice a year. But the rest of the 360, 350 days, he drives in the city. Can we look at that? When he understood that, he had no word. So that's why I say sometimes you have to reason with these guys and tell them why you don't like their cars or what's lacking in their car.
Exactly, and that is what Adil means by context when you talk about the products. And this is one of the most important things when we start writing about or start maybe in my case shooting a car or motorcycle. The first we need to understand the context and the company's intention. What are they trying to sell? So today I think we are out of time, Adil. We'll
I have a
do
question to
this
you,
again.
Kranti. I have a question to you.
Yes, yes.
Since you have also been with me in this journey, given that you are one of the guys with the tallest stature in the business, how do you reckon that you have to look at the ergonomics of a car when you are sitting in the driver's seat, and what happens to the person sitting behind you?
It has actually helped me empathize more. It has actually helped me evolve as a human being, so I can
No,
actually visualize.
you have evolved physically, yes.
So whenever I sit on the rear seat, I always think of if you remember those NCRT books, Mahatma's that talisman. So I follow that. What happens when average Indian height person sits in this car? How does he feel? So I use that. But
Let this be a lesson to all the guys who are looking at this show. Okay, they have also got to understand where and what happens that way as well.
thanks, Adil. Thanks so much, and we'll do it again. I hope
Yes,
very soon.
yes.
And that one,
Always
that
a pleasure to do anything with you, Kranti.
sorry.
It's always a pleasure to do all these things with you because I see
Someone
you as
actually,
one of the guys who can take a joke and also crack one.
that's what someone wrote also. I missed this comment. Thank you so much, guys, for writing. One person wrote also to one favorite people on
Wonderful.
live. So I guess that matches. But we'll do that again, Adil, and I'll talk about those, those small cars which you have in the background. I'm
They
sure
are
lots
not
of stories.
small, they are very valuable cars.
Very valuable. Yes, yes. So, guys, thank you very much. Thanks for this session. Thanks to Adil, and thank you all for joining and your questions. Bye.
Bye, bye, guys. Bye.
Stay home, stay safe.